Hello, everyone. Welcome again to the Tilting Ground Morning Paper Podcast. As always, I'm Greg Flamong, and I'm here with Tim Norkus. What's up, Timmy boy?
Oh, not much. Just another beautiful day in the Rocky Mountain State.
Beautiful day in the Rocky Mountains. It is a nice Monday evening here in Southern California. Um, Currently, the Raptors and the Cavs are locked in a tight battle in the fourth quarter. The Raptors are going to see if that game can, if they can even up the series, and if they can, actually make it a series. Um, so we're gonna lead off with the Warriors first, and we're gonna let this game finish up, and then we'll talk about it as it comes to a conclusion. Hopefully, it finishes up here by the end. We're done talking. Um, on the Warriors end against the Thunder, the Thunder are now up 2-1 after they pretty much just ran the Warriors out of the building yesterday. What was your takeaway from that?
Um, I mean, going in, so like I guess I don't look at it like picking winners, but like going into game three. Well, I guess at the start of the series, like when you pick a series to go 7 games, the most likely way for something to get to 7 games is it's going to be tied 2-2, right?
Right, right.
So like I wasn't really sure like, oh, I like this team to win game three, but already in my mind it's like, all right, whoever wins game three, then I like the other team to win game four. Because you almost have to that way, because it's really hard otherwise to get to 7 games. So um I mean I guess it just kind of shows like A, what the Thunder are at their best, but then at the same time, like you've basically just had back to back games with like each team dominating, which is kind of weird. I mean,
It is a little bit.
it's not weird that a team could come back and win after getting blown out, but to like basically have a worse blowout is kind of, I don't know. I mean, it just probably historically doesn't happen too much.
Yeah,
So
probably not. Although, like, I remember against the Rockets, I think it was 2009. The Lakers. It was a second round series against Houston, and they lost game one at home, which was weird. Like it was not expected. And then they won game two fairly close. And then teams just kind of traded like blowing each other out.
yeah,
Like the Lakers would go to Houston and they would get blown out, and then they would blow. I think the Lakers won game three, Houston won game four in a blowout. Then the Lakers won game five in a blowout, and then Houston blew out the Lakers in game six, and then in game seven the Lakers blew out Houston. But this is against these teams are like Houston, like they weren't really a threat to the Lakers. Like it wasn't this situation where I mean the Thunder have the Warriors' complete attention. Especially after game one, like the Warriors, you felt like they blew them out in game two, and it's like okay, like the Warriors are ready to go here, and then they just get run off the floor like they were. Like that was surprising. Like they could have like if they had lost the game, whatever kind of way they lost, and it's like okay, like I could see them losing, but just to like be so uncompetitive, like I didn't think that the Thunder could do that to the Warriors. I didn't really think any team could do that to the Warriors, like not in the playoffs.
um,
That was weird to me.
yeah, especially with Curry playing.
Right.
I mean, they did get blown out a couple times this year with Curry playing, but I mean, it's hard to compare like a regular season game to a playoff game.
Yeah, like they had
Um,
that game against Portland where they lost like 137-105,
right,
which
and they
I
got
think
blown
was
out
probably
Detroit once too, as I
yeah.
recall. But yeah, I mean, it's still obviously it's regular season, and I the weird part is like, I mean, I guess with the Warriors, you feel like, oh, they've played, you know, 18 minutes of the first half, and they're down eight, which is obviously manageable. So it's not like, oh, they were down by 15 after the first quarter, but I mean, it obviously like every single trip the Thunder had, they're either hitting a shot or getting to the free throw line. I mean, they
Would
just were
you
scoring on every possession.
would you say that Durant and Westbrook have been, you know, essentially the two best players in the series?
I mean, they
I
were in
mean,
game 3.
well, they kind of were in game one too. I mean, just like, are they? I like
Well,
if
Westbrook was. I didn't think Durant was good in
the
game
the
1,
reason
but
I'm asking this is because, well, like that duo right now better than the Curry Thompson duo on the other side.
I mean, they're up 2-1, so yeah, I guess so. They almost have to
Right,
be,
but
right?
I guess, do you see that being sustainable throughout the whole series?
Um, yeah, I mean, if it's just like 2-on-2, I do. I think where the Warriors have an advantage is kind of all their other guys, right?
Right.
So like, I don't know that I don't know that the Thunder really have another guy that you can count on to have like more than 15 points a night, right? Whereas
Right.
like from the Warriors, it could come from a lot of places. It could come from Livingston or Iguodala or Draymond Green. So, um, yeah, I mean that's kind of that'd be my only concern. But yeah, I mean obviously Westbrook and Durant are great, but then for them it's kind of like, well, where else are they going to get everything?
I mean, I think that the fact that the Thunder can have either Durant or Westbrook be the best player in any given game. And like we saw in game three, like both of those guys were better than anyone on the Warriors.
Yeah, I
Like the
mean game
fact that,
game 3, I mean they probably had 8 guys better than anyone on the Warriors. That's why they won by 400.
well, no, I mean Curry did. I mean, he wasn't hot garbage or anything. I mean, but I think that I just for the long term, like looking, like I didn't think that like throughout the series, like you just assume that okay, like Steph Curry is going to be the best player on both teams, and then it's like like to me it was a question of whether or not Clay or Draymond could be the second best player against or the second or third best player against Durant or Westbrook, and right now they're not. And right now, like Durant and Westbrook have kind of been carrying the day, especially in game one and game three.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes me feel like, I mean, Curry definitely needs to have a big performance in game four. Like the series starts now. And you had asked me earlier, like the winner of game four, does the winner of game four win the series? Like probably, just because, I mean, going down 3-1 is tough. Although, like, I mean, if there's any team that I would think could come back from 3-1, it's definitely the Warriors. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge game for Curry. I mean, people could talk about his legacy or whatever, but I mean, it's definitely one of those games where he needs to be the MVP. Like, he needs to be the unanimous MVP in this game.
I mean, I guess for them, the bigger question is how do they not give up 130 points or 105 points after 3 quarters, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, like it's hard to say like what they would have ended up with because they didn't really play much in the fourth quarter. But I mean, they still would have scored like around 100 points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they weren't great offensively, but they were better offensively than they were defensively. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the thing is, like they had played pretty well. Like, they did well on Durant and Westbrook in game 1. In game 2, Durant kind of got off in the first half, but they pretty much limited him in the second half. But game 3, I mean, in the second and third quarters, they scored like 81 points or whatever it was, 82 points.
They scored 83 points in the second
83
and
points
third
in 2
quarter.
quarters.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so like I mean, how good do you have to be offensively to match that? It's like, well, you're
Right.
not going to be good enough offensively. You need to be better defensively.
Right.
So,
well, and now, I mean, the Thunder have to have that confidence now that I mean, maybe they had it before. Like maybe they would say like, oh, like we always believed in ourselves. But I mean, like they were 18 games worse than this team in the regular season, and they were 0-3 against them. Like they had to
Yeah.
have something in their brain. It's like I don't know if we can compete with this team, but now, I mean, in some ways, it reminds me of the 0-2 series with the Lakers and the Kings. Not so much like because the Kings were, I mean, they had home court, but you know, the Lakers, it was the three-peat season, you know, so they were kind of seen as this unstoppable force. And when the Lakers won game one, um, it was like, okay, like same old story. And then Sacramento won game two. And then in game three, Sacramento blew out the Lakers. And it
Right.
was kind of one of those things like, oh, and this was at home for the Lakers. So it was that kind of that moment of, oh, like this, like the Lakers are actually in real trouble here. And they
Yeah, like
actually
we're in
looked
for it.
like they didn't look like the better team. You know, they
Yeah.
just didn't. They didn't look like they were. You know, Sacramento looked like the better squad. Um, and so you kind of get a little bit of that in this situation. Like, wow, like the Thunder actually. I mean, they look better, especially after they just completely destroyed them.
Right. I mean, if you look at like kind of quarter by quarter, so like basically what's weird is like so they've played 12 quarters, like the
Uh-huh.
Warriors in quarters are ahead 7-5, but that fourth quarter of game 1 cost them the game,
Right.
so um I mean the game 1 is obviously huge because for the Thunder you feel like if they go down 2-0, which really means they've lost 5 in a row this season, even like a game 3 win, you still have your doubts, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Warriors have been here before. They were down 2-1 twice last year. Now the Thunder are certainly better than the teams last year, but um, I don't know. Now it feels like there's pressure on both teams, right? Because you can't go down 3-1, but also like you said, like for the Thunder, and if you lose tomorrow night, like you're back to being like a pretty good underdog
It's
again.
2-2. And the thing is like it's a big moment for them to kind of say like, no, we are like you can't figure us out. Like we're just better than you. Because if the Warriors kind of figure them out and win a close game in game four, and then they get to go home, you know, it's that thing where like the better team, once they figure you out, they've got you, and there's nothing you can do anymore.
Right.
Um, and that's what the Thunder kind of have riding on this game. Like they need to assert their dominance. Like they need to say, no, we are better. Like you can't. It doesn't matter what you do. Like our two guys are better than your two guys or three guys or whoever.
Yeah.
And luckily for the Warriors, you know, they're going to have Draymond Green. There was, you know, a lot of talk after his little kick to the groin of Steven Adams that he might be suspended. Like, what did you think about that? I mean, I know what you thought about it, but just kind of rehash it for everyone who's listening.
I mean, my thought was if he gets ejected yesterday, then A, it wouldn't have hurt them because they got blown out, and B, like you wouldn't have thought like, oh, this needs another game. It
Right,
would have just kind of be done with.
right.
But this is what's kind of weird. So like the refs go and look at it, and then they don't eject him. I think because I think
Aren't,
the
aren't
original.
they aren't they communicating with um like the NBA out in wherever Secaucus or wherever they are?
See, I'm not sure, and I should know. I'm not sure how like those types of rules are done as opposed to like, hey, did he get this ball off before the shot clock expired or whatever, as opposed to like, hey, what kind of foul is this? I think it's the guys who are there. I do. And so like they obviously don't eject him. So now
Right,
it's like, well, if the NBA decides, hey, we're gonna suspend him a game, it's like, well, then basically what you're saying again is that the refs kind of blew it.
right.
Um, I mean,
Because
I don't know how to.
he wasn't suspended, but they gave him a flagrant two,
Right,
like
which
afterwards,
which a
which
flagrant
is
two would be like
it's an
your
ejection.
ejection and then like a review.
Right.
but not necessarily like another suspension.
Right.
And I always think like if you get a flagrant 2 in the first half and you miss the second half, like it's like that's good enough. Like if you get a flagrant 2 in the last like minute of a blowout, then yeah, they might give you a the league might give you an extra game because you're not really being punished.
Right.
Um,
It's like football, college football.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So in that sense, I mean, I mean, look, like it's a play that I feel like not that there's like any in any specific terms, like I can't even say like it's a hard foul because like that's not how guys played in the 80s or 90s, but it's a type of play that like people would say like today's players are soft. Like there's never any contact. It's like, well, this guy just got kicked in the balls, so there's a
Right.
little bit of contact.
Right. Well, it's soft, like, but it's only soft on the league's part and how they handle it.
Right.
Like,
So I think it's
like,
fine. Like I think a non-suspension is fine. Now look, like, and I think this kind of goes for every sport. If if Steven Adams goes down and doesn't return for the rest of the game, and then it like comes out today that he's like questionable for tomorrow,
uh-huh,
then he's suspended for sure.
probably, yeah.
So like it's a reactionary thing, and this I mean it happens in every sport, So the fact that like Steven Adams plays, comes back and obviously is playing tomorrow, like
See,
that
for
that that
me,
plays into it.
it was I thought there was a real chance he would get suspended because the Draymond kick was a lot like. Do you remember when Kobe got suspended like a long time ago?
I
This might
do.
have been like
It
when
was
he
like
took
off
the
of
little
it was like
elbow.
off of yeah, it was like off of a 3-pointer or something. He swung his elbow backwards.
Yeah, so like the guy hit it away from him and he swung his arm and it was against Manu Ginobili and he hit
Right.
him with his elbow. But he's behind him, so it's not like he's swinging it at him.
Right.
But it's something he had done before, and they gave him a game for it.
But it wasn't a playoff game, right?
No, it was definitely not a playoff game.
Right. So I mean
Um,
like
I'm
I
just
think
saying the
that
action was kind of similar, like the way that he just kind of flailed his arm and Draymond Green flailed his leg, and then he's done it before. Um, I just thought, I mean, if they're going to go by that, um, I mean, I could see them suspending him. I mean, who knows what they're really thinking?
right. I mean
Although I
I
thought,
think the fact that it's a playoff game or a Western Conference final playoff game matters too. For sure it matters too.
I hope it matters. It should. It
Yeah.
should definitely. And then it made me
So
think about. Do you remember again going back to the O2 series in Game 6 um, against the Kings when at the end of the game the Lakers or the Kings were trying to come back at the end and they needed a steal and Kobe kind of did like a reach through on Bibby and elbowed him in the face
vaguely. I
and
mean
they
I
don't
do.
call it. It's uncalled, right?
Right.
And he's got, I mean, there's blood like everywhere, like he's bleeding, and they didn't see it, like the broadcast didn't see it, the refs didn't see it, like only on replay. And I was thinking to myself, like, I mean, today would he have been suspended for that?
Since it's a playoff game, I would say no.
I would because that I would have been very angry. But like in today's NBA, like that's an elbow to the face. It is an elbow to the face, and it was uncalled. And the next game is Game 7. I mean, can you imagine that?
I can't. That's why I don't think he'd be suspended.
Mm, yeah, I guess.
I mean,
I mean, I don't
it's
know. Wasn't Amari Stoudemire suspended for a big game because he stepped on the court or something?
yeah, but I think that's like
It's
that's
one of those
that's one
like
of the
like it's not a judgment call. You did it or you didn't kind of thing.
correct, exactly. Like that's like that to me is like the missed call on uh Ginobili with Dion Waiters on like the inbound. It's
Yeah,
like Ginobili stepped on the line. Like, look, the rule says you can't do that. It's technical foul in the last 2 minutes. Like that's what it has to be. So like, the Draymond Green thing, there's not like a hey, if you're kind of shooting and you kick someone in the balls, like even if it's accidental, this is the suspension or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously the Warriors are. Although you know what, I did kind of want to see if Draymond Green got suspended, then like how do Steph and Clay respond? You know what I
Clay.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what do they do? But um, yeah, I mean, I think it's the right decision.
Okay. When's the next game?
Tomorrow night.
Okay. What's your
They're
prediction?
actually, I know it's so rare, but they're actually going every other night. So
Yeah.
there's one game every night now, which is nice.
What's your prediction
Um, well, I mean, I have the Warriors in 7, and so like I thought it would be tied 2-2. So yeah, I'm gonna go Warriors.
here? Okay.
Close.
I'm gonna go 2-2 also. I'm gonna go Warriors just because that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
Um, I want the Warriors to respond, and then I want to see if the Thunder can respond to that. Because that's how you get a great series. You know, when you have teams that have to raise their game to
Right.
stay alive at this point.
Right.
So yeah, I think if we go 2-2, I mean, there's potential for some really good basketball coming up. So
Because
that's
when you go 2-2, you're guaranteed of 2 more games.
you are guaranteed. That's how
You
the
know what I
math
mean?
works.
So like when it's 3-1, I mean maybe not when like the favored team is down 3-1, but like if the road team is down 3-1 and it's like, oh, now they got to win 2 road games, it's,
Yeah.
a lot less. But yeah, I think it'll be close. Maybe not like last possession, but like it'll be in doubt with 6 minutes left.
Hmm.
So
Okay. All right. Well, let's check in on the East. It looks like the Raptors are going to pull this out.
yes,
Is
they
it
are.
over or is it
Toronto's up 6 with
with 4 seconds left?
4.3 seconds left, and Cleveland has the ball in a
Okay.
timeout. Uh, Biombo just missed 2 free throws. Not that it's really going to
Ooh,
matter, but he missed 2.
the
Um,
Biz.
if you didn't see, he had a couple of incredible blocks. Now, the first one, it's kind of at the end of the first half. They called a foul on him. It was like an alley oop for LeBron James. It was incredible.
Uh, oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
certainly not a foul. I mean, they called it a foul, not a foul. And then he has another one where he blocks Kevin Love, where he's like coming down the lane trying to dunk on him, which I mean that wasn't probably going to work anyways, but that one he actually got credit for the block.
Did he
So
do the Dikembe finger wag?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
The best part is in the first half he just like ran over to the bench because it was his third foul, and so
Uh,
like I mean this kind of comes back to like the replay thing. It's like you watch one replay and like that's not a foul. Like it's just not a foul, like And so like it's not going to kill him, but like LeBron made both free throws. And it just shouldn't happen. But they were incredible blocks. Toronto led pretty much the whole game, except Cleveland made a nice little run here in the fourth quarter. But I mean, it's kind of weird with Cleveland. Like you think of them as being like this great 3-point shooting team, and they are. And they haven't shot it well the last 2 games, but like in watching them, they have tons of open looks.
right.
So it's not like, hey, like I mean, I guess you could say, hey, like we're going to take away all their easy baskets. But
Mhm.
like, I mean, when some of these guys are like having wide open threes, it's like, I mean, I don't know. It's not like Tristan Thompson is shooting them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that's sustainable. Um, I always and it kind of going back to last year, like it feels weird. Like everybody always, oh well, the Cavs played to 6 with the Warriors and they're missing Irving and Love. I mean, those guys when they're on the floor are such a liability defensively.
Yeah.
When they started to make their comeback tonight, it was with both of them off the floor. And now Love wasn't good offensively, and Irving kind of
He was
was,
not.
but Irving defensively, I mean, they couldn't get stops with him on the floor. They really couldn't.
Well,
Um,
DeRozan and Lowry were a combined 28 of 43
right.
for 67 points, which seems pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, like they were always going to have a problem because like Cleveland doesn't have that like natural 2 guard to defend DeRozan or Lowry, and their other guard isn't really a good defender. So
And that doesn't really bode well for them going up against
yeah.
the Thunder or the Warriors, by the way.
Well, for the Thunder, it's okay because they really only have like one guard. I mean, I guess I don't know. Do you consider Kevin Durant like a guard or like a small forward? Because I feel like LeBron would guard Durant, but like LeBron's not really guarding
Well, why
Lowry
can't
or
he?
DeRozan.
Why can't? Well, why not?
Why can't he?
Yeah, why not? Why can't he guard DeRozan or Lowry?
Um, well, I don't know that he's quick enough to guard Lowry. Now, like in certain situations, like when they switch on the pick and roll, he can, but it's not like all right, like he's my guy.
LeBron,
Yeah.
dude, he's picked up a lot of smaller guys. Like people, they put him on Curry last year. I mean, he could definitely do it. I mean, it's like, would you rather do that or would you like? Why can't you put like Kyrie just in this series? Like put Kyrie on Carroll or put J.R. Smith on Carroll.
I mean, they've kind of had J.R. Smith trying to defend DeRozan, which didn't go great.
Right.
I
Like,
don't know. Maybe going into this game, they kind of thought like, hey, last game was more an aberration. So like when these guys don't shoot it well, like we'll be
like
okay.
stay with our own stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you could definitely make the case that is kind of their like I don't like Trump card. I don't want to say Trump. I don't ever want to say that. That is their ace in the hole. Like they can put they can put LeBron on somebody like in a jam. Like it'd be interesting to see if they do that in Game 5.
Yeah.
By the way, LeBron tonight smooth 46 minutes.
He played a lot. Their offense is so
That's
much.
crazy.
Their offense is so much better than when he goes, like when he's controlling the ball. Like when when Kyrie's in there, and even when he's shooting well, he just dominates the ball. Like it just feels like it's so much dribbling.
Right.
Like and everything's stagnant, right? So like yeah, he might hit a pull-up jumper or whatever, but it's like, is that
Well, so much
sustainable? Like
dribbling
no,
to
it's
get
not
himself a
sustainable.
shot.
Right, exactly. But like when everything's going through LeBron, that's when it's like, even if shots aren't falling, it's like that's when they're getting all these open looks.
It is interesting that LeBron plays 46 minutes and he takes 16 shots.
Well, here there's a couple of things. One, he
Seems
doesn't
like not enough.
well, he doesn't trust himself to shoot outside because he had plenty of open looks. But Toronto's not giving him open looks like when he touches the ball anywhere
Right.
inside the 3-point line.
I mean, he shot a
Right.
great percentage. I mean, 11 to 16. That's
Right.
really good.
So
But
yeah,
then
like if he
jumpers, like he's only going
right,
inside for that stuff.
if he wants open threes, they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and I mean it's just it felt like there was a period in his game where like you had to guard him there. Not like he's gonna shoot it over you and like he's a great 3-point shooter, but like yeah, it used to be like if you leave him alone, like he's a good enough shooter to make you pay. But now it's like they're sagging off of him there, like
Yeah.
and he's not even challenging. So
And the Raptors have this Valanciunas coming back pretty soon. They thought he might try to give it a go tonight, but he didn't.
so
But I mean, you gotta
if he
feel like
didn't
he's gonna go for
play
Game 5.
if he didn't play a minute tonight, I mean 48 hours from now you're talking about like a minimal role.
Right, but I mean, anything is better than nothing, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes. But like you can't play him and Biombo at the same time, and Biombo's playing great. So I mean, I guess you could spell Biombo for a couple minutes, but you're not going to play both of them at the same time because defensively, you're just not going to be able to guard the perimeter.
Right.
It actually feels weird because both teams kind of play 4-on-4 offensively, right? So like Biombo never shoots, and Tristan Thompson basically never shoots.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Which is kind of weird in today's game where it's like, man, you better have some good players offensively if you're playing 4-on-5. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And both of them really are. Like they're playing 4-on-5 all the time.
it's just hard to see. Like, I mean, Valanciunas was 13-9 during the regular season. I mean, that's something. Like, he can contribute to this team. I
Oh
mean, they
yeah, I
have to
mean
find a way.
it's certainly something. But like it's just a weird fit with him and Biombo on the floor at the same time. And if you're playing Biombo 35 minutes or whatever a night, then yeah, I mean you could
I mean, he
whenever you're
played like
spelling
Biombo
him,
played 42 minutes tonight.
right? And so like if you're not taking him out, then you're playing Valanciunas 6 minutes because I neither of them are good enough offensively to make up for like trying to play both of them defensively.
Right.
So, but I mean, yeah, Biombo's been great around the rim, like protecting the rim. He's been great.
I can't wait till the Lakers just offer him a boatload of money in free agency. It's going to be awesome.
So he's unrestricted, right? And
Yeah.
also DeRozan's unrestricted.
Well, DeRozan
And
is
he's
just
an LA kid.
that's not happening. I promise you that DeRozan won't be a Laker.
You don't think so?
No, where are they going to put him?
I don't know. They'll sign him and figure it out later.
No, he's not that like that dude. That is not where you need to be putting all your money. I can promise you that. Like, no, thank you. I mean, look, he's doing great, and that's awesome for him. But he plays essentially the same position as Jordan Clarkson. He plays the same position in some ways as D'Angelo Russell. No, no, don't want that.
I okay, I agree, and that's fine. I can't believe the series is tied 2-2. I really can't.
It's but you don't think like you really don't think that the Cavs are in real trouble, right? They'd have to lose.
Um,
They'd have to lose on Wednesday.
they're not in real trouble, but they're in more trouble than they were 3 nights ago.
This is true, but I don't know. I can't take it seriously. I really can't. Not until they lose at home.
Um,
I mean, obviously they have home court, but
yeah. Well, not even just lose at home, but like just see the Raptors like contend, right?
it was weird that the Raptors were up big, like you said, like they were up 18, and then Cleveland came back and took the lead, and you kind of figure like, okay, Cleveland's gonna put them away here. They've had enough of this riffraff, and at the end the Raptors kind of pulled away a little bit. Like that is like if I was a Cleveland fan, I would be a little bit concerned about that. Like you had your chance, like you came back and then you couldn't finish the deal, and now you have to go back to Toronto where like it's Toronto, like those fans, they're pretty fired up for this. Like that's not the easiest place to go and play. Um,
I mean,
they could have avoided it.
the home court is whatever. I mean, Indiana won there, Miami won there. Like that, I don't care about.
I'm
And
just saying it's not the
what I care
easiest place. I'm just
what I
saying.
care more about is this. Definitely, I wouldn't say that they're in trouble, but it definitely puts a seed of doubt in Cleveland's mind, right? Because like you lose game 3, and it's kind of like we took their best effort, and we're not going to sweep everyone, but we go up 3-1, the series is basically over. But now at 2-2, it's kind of like, man, we're almost a game away from having like a complete meltdown here.
Well, not just that, but LeBron, I mean, he went the whole way. I mean, basically, he
Yeah,
went 46 minutes. Like he went. It's not like they gave him rest or whatever, and it just didn't work out. Like, I mean, they can't play him any. I mean, not much more than they played him today. I mean, they went after it and they didn't get it. Like that's concerning.
I guess this is the weird part, and I guess without playing, I'll never understand. But like, they rest him all year. He has all this time off. So how does he respond after playing 46 minutes? Right?
Right.
Like, I mean, if he's been resting for this long, I mean, they're basically playing. So like game 5 will be their 13th game in the last like month and a half. Right. So like, yeah, he just played 46 minutes, but like he's had all this time off.
Well,
right?
at
He's
what
not.
point at what point do all the finals appearances of the last 6 years and now this year's playoff run, like at what point does that catch up to him?
Well, I mean, without playing, I have no idea because like they basically couldn't have given him more rest this year, right? He played like 60 something games.
Right.
They've
But I
played.
mean, how many extra games has he played just in 6 years? I mean, it has to be like close to 2 seasons, like two extra seasons or something, or at least one extra season.
Right. But I mean, at some point, like, how long does it take your body to recuperate from that?
I don't know. I'm not.
Like, I don't know if that affects him now, or that's more like instead of playing to 37, he's only going to be able to play to 35.
I mean, maybe. People talk about that fourth season, like the Lakers. They succumbed to it um, in 03. They succumbed to it again in 2011. Going to four straight finals, like both years they didn't make it, and now he's on his seventh. Like I just feel like that has to mean something. Like at some point, he's playing 46 minutes here. Like at some point, he's got to break down. I mean, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, your point's a good one. Like it'll definitely it'll take years off of his career for sure.
Right. I don't know if it affects like game to game because, like I said, like I don't know how much rest you need, but like he's gotten plenty of rest. So, um,
maybe it's like in the margins. Like maybe it's that he doesn't have the legs to shoot jumpers anymore, and that's why they're giving it to him.
right, right. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not like he didn't play well tonight. Like he wasn't the reason they lost, but
He was very efficient.
you're right. I mean, like you said, and without knowing all the entire rosters, like yeah, he's in his seventh finals, but like this is only Kyrie's and Kevin Love's second postseason, like ever for them. So
It's
like
true.
they certainly shouldn't be tired. You know what I mean?
No,
As opposed to like when it's like Kobe and Shaq or Kobe and Powell and a few other guys. Like the only one for the Cavs is LeBron, which is
it
and
is true.
it's a ton. Obviously, it's a ton.
Right.
But like all the other guys, like it's not.
But then he's
So
their locomotive, though.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. But I mean, it's still Toronto. Like if this was
It is
kind of
still Toronto. I
if
mean,
this
it
was
is
like
still Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan.
right, like if this was like tired legs against like OKC or Golden State,
Not
like
exactly a who's who in the NBA.
right, like these guys, they were in a 7 game series with Indiana. Their coach just got fired.
They were in a
So
7-game series with the Heat.
yeah,
It didn't have Chris Bosh.
or Hassan Whiteside at the end.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right. So I mean, you're obviously you still got to feel good about the Cavs, right?
I mean, I picked them in 4, obviously not 4, but like
Not 4.
yeah, 6 now.
Okay.
Before today, it was Cavs in 5. After today, it's Cavs in 6. And if the Cavs do happen to lose Game 5, I'm gonna take the Cavs in
Cavs in
7.
7. Cavs in 7. And if they lose Game 6, then it'll be Cavs in 8.
Yeah, or 9, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about my greatest triumph last week, which was the Lakers keeping their lottery pick and
Well, not just
landing in
keeping
the
it.
number 2 spot.
Yeah, not just keeping it, because number 3, it's like you kept it, but like there's a high
Well, I think
potential of like
if
just
they had landed
picking
in
the wrong guy.
3, if they had landed in 3, now we're talking about trading.
Right.
They're seriously talking about trading at that point.
Right.
I think now you really got to think about keeping the pick. Like I don't like
Yeah.
we were talking about last week. Like I can't think of a trade that is good enough for me to be like, yeah, all right, I'll give the pick up.
Right, especially a realistic thing, right?
The only thing that I heard where I was like, oh, they kind of have to do it if that's true, or at least it's close to 50-50, is who was I listening to? I want to say it was Wojnarowski and someone on the Vertical on his new website, and they were talking about Sacramento giving the Lakers number 8 and Boogie for number 2. And I thought, if they offer that, you have to think really seriously about doing it.
If it's
Because then you get
and
with
Boogie,
8,
yes.
8 and Boogie. I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, even if it was just Boogie, because then it's like, man, we get
No.
like a 26 center.
I
You have
don't.
to think about it.
I would not think about it.
You wouldn't even think about it.
No. Absolutely
Why?
not. How many years has he been in the league?
Boogie?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 5.
Okay, 5.
That's a total guess.
Have they ever won 35 games?
Probably not.
They're empty numbers to me. It's like,
Okay.
look, like even with like the Sixers this year, it's not like they were averaging 50 points a night. Like somebody's gonna put up numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about a guy who, with another team's season on the line, on the last day of the year, got a DNP rest and didn't even make the trip. Like, you want that guy on your team?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good point.
to me, he's just a stats guy. Like, he's going after his numbers because like they're not winning. So I'm gonna get mine, and then like I mean, he's like a rich man's Corey Maggette in the numbers sense. It's like you see the guy like, look, oh, he averages 23 and 12 or whatever. It's like, yeah, but like they're always getting blown out and they're never playing for anything after Christmas.
And it's not like the Lakers have some kind of like stable situation that they can kind of
Yeah, like it would definitely worry me around the
It's
kids.
actually the opposite.
I mean, with 8 and Boogie, then it's kind of like, all right, well, we have 2 chances to hit here, right?
Right.
Because while we think of this as being like a 2-person draft, for sure there's going to be other good players that come out of it. I mean, there might not be Hall of Famers, but there's going to be guys good.
Devin Booker went 13 last year.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be guys who are good enough to be like a number 2, maybe number 3 player on a title team.
Yeah.
So yeah, at 8, you certainly have that option.
I mean, other than that, like, I can't even like who would I even want instead of like Brandon Ingram?
I mean, the thing is like I don't know who's available, so that makes it tough.
I mean, I read somewhere Paul George might be available. That's a pass for me.
Right. Like he's a good player, but like it just doesn't make sense for them.
Well, he's what I want, like Brandon Ingram to become. But it's like I kind of know what Paul George is, and I know he's already had that injury.
Well, not only that, but like if you get Paul George, like what are you trying to do right now? Like you're not going to win a title in the next 2 or 3 years. So like how's Paul George helping you get to that ultimate goal 3 or 4 years from now?
Right.
Obviously he's not. So I mean, he's a good player and he could help somebody else, but like, I mean, it just doesn't help the Lakers that much right now. Like, it's like if you're trying to win 40 to 45 games next year, then yeah, that's fine. But if you're trying to win a title like 3 or 4 years from now, like that doesn't help you.
Yeah, to me, like the goal is to be great. Like the goal isn't to be a playoff team.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you can take Brandon Ingram and then you can put him next to, Julius Randle. And honestly, like if you want, like you can sign someone like Biyombo or Hassan Whiteside or something, and some defender,
right?
And you can put him out there, and with the kids, like you can put Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Clarkson, and Russell, and then some center like Whiteside or Biyombo, and then you can roll with that. And it's like, I don't, that could hit. Why can't it hit? Like that's how you build teams. I mean, the problem is Randall's not the best shooter from the outside, which is kind of what you would want, but it's like Russell, Clarkson, and Ingram can all kind of stroke it.
Yeah. The thing that comes out of me with this lottery is it makes me sad that Sam Hinkie's not in Philadelphia anymore. Because when they get it turned around, it'll be like, look, like they got it turned around the minute they got rid of Sam Hinkie or he resigned. It's like, no, all this stuff is going to happen because of what he did the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like
I saw some interesting ideas. Like they could take Simmons at 1, trade Okafor to the Celtics for 3, and take like a point guard. That Chris Dunn kid from Providence.
Right, and then they also have Dario Saric coming back.
They have Saric, and then they still have
Embiid,
maybe Noel, yeah.
Well, everything
that's not nothing.
Right, everything that I've read is like Embiid's gonna play this year. Saric is coming over. I mean, you've already seen Okafor, so you kind of know what he is. So I wouldn't mind if they traded him. I wouldn't really trade anybody else because like you're kind of trading unknowns at that point.
Right.
But like you just run it like one more year and then you see, hey, what do we have? Right. And like, look, like they're going to have the Lakers pick next year. It's probably going to be a lottery pick and it probably won't be in the top 3, but I mean, it'll be like 7, 8, or 9. Like that's another thing. Right. So yeah, I mean, all of everything Sam Hinkie did makes me sad now.
It probably makes him sad too.
Well, I mean, look, like his goal is what you just said. Like the goal is not to make the playoffs. The goal is to be great. Right. And like I understand, like even if you are great or you build up and you don't win a title, but like the goal isn't to be like what Atlanta is right now. Right. Like that's not the goal. Like even though it seems stable, or like what the Nuggets were with Carmelo. Like they were never going to win a title. It's like, yeah, but you went to the playoffs 7 or 8 years. It's like, yeah, but who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't hang like playoff appearance banners even in Pepsi Center. So in that sense, like I always like, what they call it out there, like the process, right?
Are you
Trust
sure about that, man? I'll never forget when Mike, my brother-in-law, was playing for the Astros, and in 2004 they were a wild card team, and there was a banner at the stadium, wild card champions. This is the best.
So at Pepsi Center, so like they have the Avs banners, which are, there's a few. So they've won a couple Stanley Cups, and then they got a couple like President's Trophy, which is like you had the best record in the regular season. For the Nuggets, like Midwest, because I think they were in the Midwest Division or Northwest Division champions. They don't have a banner for like we made it to the conference final, and then they've got like retired jerseys. So no, there's no playoff appearance banners.
No playoff appearance banners.
Yeah, so I mean the goal is to win a title, right? Like the goal is to win a title, and it might not be this year, and it might not be next year, but like I feel confident in saying that Philadelphia is more likely to win a title than like 22, 23 other teams right now.
Yeah.
Right. Like it might seem like they're so far away, but I feel like they're a better position to win a title sooner than the Hawks. Even though the Hawks because like are the Hawks winning in the next 3 years? No, they're not.
I don't want to say like they're in better position, but it's like they kind of have the same chance, I guess.
Well, look, like unless you think the Hawks are winning in the next 3 years, like what do they have 3 years from now? Like guys that are in their prime now that are not in their prime.
Right.
Whereas like Philly, it's like, yeah, you have unknown assets, but like they're going to be all guys in their mid-20s at least.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, swing for the fences. I mean, that's what I want the Lakers to do. And as far as who they pick, like, I don't know. I have a pretty big crush on Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
I love his game. And I really like how he kind of fits into what the Lakers do. Like I said, like they don't have like Kobe's gone, so they don't have a small forward now, and you can put him with you can put him next to Randall, and they do opposite things. Like he doesn't need to play on the block; he can play outside. He's like a poor man's Kevin Durant, basically.
Right, like he's got the same body type, so like it's easy to envision him doing the same things, right?
He has the same body type and he has the same kind of game.
Right.
So and unlike Ben Simmons, like his team actually made the tournament. Probably a little easier
That's
for
my
him
line.
than Duke. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Ben Simmons too, and I really like his game. Like he looks like he runs the floor really well. He's a really good passer. He sees like he has very good basketball instincts. Like you can tell, like he knows the game. He can feel the game really well. His jumper is ugly, like ugly.
Yeah.
I don't like
I mean,
it.
look, you don't have to tell me. I was the OG Ben Simmons hater.
When did this start for you?
When they lost to like College of Charleston and Fordham and a bunch of these other
You
like
did
trashy
send
teams.
emails very early. Like, what's up with like people are talking about him not making the tournament? Like, how good can you be if you're not making the tournament?
Right. So like yeah, like if you like if you get like a 6 or a 7 seed, then like that's whatever, but like they didn't even sniff it. Like they didn't even
No,
sniff
they
it.
were out like, and then and then it was like like they were out super early, like February, and then it was like, well, maybe they can make a run in the conference
SEC
tournament.
tournament, yeah.
Yeah,
And they
and
lost by
then
like 60 to Texas A&M.
they got blown away, and not just that, but then he was getting suspended for basically it seems like just not going to class at all, like ever.
Right.
Um, so they had to. I mean, at LSU, he got suspended for basically not being a student. And it's like, look, whatever. Like, no one thought you were gonna be there for anything more than a semester anyway. So no one's real concerned about that. But it's just the
Right.
fact that
I mean,
it's just
it's
the
just
fact that like he knew that by not attending class or whatever, like he wasn't gonna be able to participate. So I mean, even if his team was good enough, like he wouldn't have been there.
yeah. I mean, it's like a weird series of events. It's like first of all, like why choose LSU? Like I know you're only going to be there for a semester, but like all these other kids that you only know are going to be there for a semester, it's always Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina. It's like you went to a LSU. Like what? Like I don't even know.
Well,
Like
there was like,
I know. Like his
there
his
was like
like
a
his yeah his like stepdad got like an assistant
yeah,
coaching job
like
or
some
whatever.
family situation. I mean,
So
obviously, it's the SEC. Okay,
right.
it wasn't exactly
But then it's
on
like
board.
it feels like you should be good enough to get your team to just the tournament because it's not like he went to a good basketball conference, right? Like he didn't go to
No,
he did it's not like he showed up at like Georgia Tech and then it's like, well, there's like 8 teams going to the tournament from the ACC and you went to like the 10th best team. It's like no, you went to a conference where there's like 2 or 3 good teams. The rest of them are kind of like whatever. I mean,
well, 68 teams make it. So,
yeah. I just
like one of the teams with the best player in college basketball allegedly should be
should be.
involved.
Yeah. So maybe he'll be great, but like I have concerns.
It's like I guess I put it like this: like people were saying, like he was the best college prospect coming out since LeBron. Like, can you imagine LeBron James playing college basketball and his team not making the tournament?
Yeah, right? Right?
Like, no, of course not. Like, can you imagine? You know, and I'm using these great players because I mean this is what people think that he can be. Like, can you imagine Kobe playing college basketball and not making the tournament? Like, of course not.
Well, I mean, there's been plenty other one and dones that didn't go to like great basketball schools, like
Well, like
Kevin
Durant.
Durant. He went to
Yeah,
Texas,
yeah.
and like they didn't do well in the tournament, but I think they were like a 5 seed, which means they had a pretty good year.
Well, they went out in the second round. I mean,
Oh, was it second round? Oh, I thought it was. Oh, yeah, that's right. They lost to USC. I thought it was
they
first round.
they won their first game. They lost to
Yeah, so
USC.
it's like a 5 seed go to the second round. Like Ben Simmons wasn't anywhere near that. Like, just not
And
even near.
not even that, but Kevin Durant was like, I mean, he was like 35 and 20 like every night.
He was pretty incredible.
Yeah,
He was
I mean,
pretty incredible in college.
he was putting up these numbers. It's like, oh yeah, 41 and 17. Ha, it's fun.
How did
It's
he
like
end
Ben
up at
Simmons.
Texas? Because he's like a DC kid, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a
I
good
mean,
question.
I don't remember like the situation, but that does seem kind of
I
that
don't
seems kind of
remember it at
shady.
all. I remember you like texting me or something about this kid. It's like, hey, there's a guy from Texas, and he's like 30 and 20 every night.
He is.
And I remember thinking, like, wow, that seems good.
I mean, I wasn't around to watch like Bill Walton in college, but Kevin Durant and Blake Griffin were the most unbelievable players I've ever seen in
Yeah,
college.
Blake Griffin
Those two
also, like, he
guys.
was at the same time, and he was just, again, he was doing like 40 and 20 all the time.
Yeah, I mean, they were both unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, never a doubt that their teams were making. I mean, Griffin wasn't like a 1 year guy, but by his junior year, I think he stayed 3 years. By his junior year, I mean, he was an unbelievable player.
Yeah, and it's not like it's one thing if he went to LSU and it's like he was putting up 30 and 20, but they weren't winning. It's like, well, he's doing everything he can. Like he was like 19 and 10 or something. It's like, yeah, that's good, but I mean,
Right. Well, because the thing
come
is,
on,
like, look, if he's putting up 30 and 20 against College of Charleston, like they're winning. If he's putting
right?
up 30 and 20 against, and I know they beat Kentucky, but like teams like Kentucky or Texas A&M, and they lose, then it's like, look, like they probably have pro guys too,
Right.
you know. But I mean, it's just something I don't know. I just yeah.
But that being said, like if he falls to the Lakers, like I'll be fine with it.
I'm sending you a jersey, like not a Ben Simmons jersey, like just any jersey that I have, I'll send it to you.
Well, I will say, like it would infuriate Bill Simmons, and that would be worth it enough for me.
Right.
So, okay, well, I guess with that being said, I guess we can end it here. I guess next week, all right, I'm going to make it a point. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about hockey, okay?
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, Lightning up 3-2, playing game 6 at home tomorrow.
Okay.
Sharks up 3-2, playing game 6 at home on Wednesday. So if we record Sunday or Monday night, I think the finals will be set. So yeah, and then also I'm watching Kershaw right now, so maybe a little more like Dodgers Kershaw stuff too.
I don't watch the Dodgers.
Yeah,
Not
I know,
because
like
I
that's
don't
why,
want
but like
to.
I'll talk about it because
Oh, okay.
I can watch it.
I can follow the box scores. I'm very good at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, that's going to be our show for today. As always, follow us on Twitter at Tilting Ground, and you can follow me on Twitter at Greg2126. Follow us on Facebook, our Tilting Ground Facebook page. This will get posted up hopefully tomorrow by our wonderful friend Mike Muto.
Are we on
And
iTunes?
Webmaster. I don't know that we're on iTunes yet, and I'm working on some intro music. I want some intro music. I want some fun ones. Speaking of which, Timmy,
Okay.
send me some
Yeah.
ideas for intro music, and I gotta bother Mike about that.
That's not.
But yeah,
I will email you. I have some good ideas already.
yes. So yeah, get some intro music going. We're gonna try to get up on iTunes so that it's easier for people to access us. So yeah, thanks for listening to the morning paper, and I'll talk to you later, bud.
All right, later.
Later.